Today's readings on May 12th. Numbers 21, Psalm 60 and 61, Isaiah 10, chapter 5 to verse 34, and James chapter 4. We're going to be in James chapter 4, and sometimes just reading the scripture and having it read and just being able to meditate and listen is a good thing. So I'm going to try to read a bit before we even talk about it. Just going to read. What causes quarrels and what causes fights among you? Is it not this, that your passions are at war within you? You desire and do not have, so you murder. You covet and cannot obtain, so you fight and quarrel. You do not have because you do not ask. You ask and you do not receive because you ask wrongly, to spend it on your passions. You adulterous people, do you not know that friendship with the world is enmity with God? Therefore, whoever wishes to be a friend of the world makes himself an enemy of God. Or do you suppose it is to no purpose that the Scripture says, He yearns jealously over the Spirit that He has made to dwell in us, but He gives more grace. Therefore it says, God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Submit yourselves therefore to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Draw near to God, and He will draw near to you. Cleanse your hands, you sinners, and purify your hearts, you double-minded. Be wretched and mourn and weep. Let your laughter be turned to mourning and your joy to gloom. Humble yourselves before the Lord, and He will exalt you. What's going on? There's the recognition that there's a battle. There's a spiritual battle ongoing in all of us that call ourselves Christians or Jesus followers. And it kind of gets us messed up, right? And the more we try to be like the world, the more the worldly desires and the worldly patterns, the worldly way of doing things influences and molds and shapes us. So he says, do you know that friendship with the world is enmity with God? You're opposing God. You're coming up against Him. But God gives more grace. Man, I'm so glad. I'm so glad for that grace. So what should we do instead? Not be prideful, not try to show that we've got it all figured out and we're good and we're better than all the rest. God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble. I'm real thankful for that. And I know that I need more of that. More what? More grace? Yeah, some more humility. So I want to submit myself more to God. Resist the devil and he will flee. I don't have to try to bind him. I don't have to try to go again. I just say, no, I'm going God's way. That's it. I'm going to draw near to God. He will draw near to me. That's the promises of God to you and for you through James. That's what he's saying. Have a clear mind of what direction you're going. So when you're asking for things, it's things based on God's will and God's heart. And so you'll receive rather than not receive because you ask amiss or you ask wrongly to spend it on your passions. And I find that that's true in my prayers also. It's easy to pray for and about things that will benefit me. Humble yourselves before the Lord, and He will exalt you. What a great thing to think about. Humility before God. Before the God who sent His Son, who humbled Himself by becoming a human, and all the way to the point of death, even death on a cross, the ultimate measure of shame, and yet He willingly went and did that for you and for me. Thankful that God continues to speak in and through His Word to me and hopefully to you. Until next time, keep growing little by little.